Bien, pues estamos aquí con Dina. Di tu apellido.
¿Cómo?
Tu apellido, your surname.
Wakley.
Wakley. Yo digo Wakley. Wakley. Con Dina Wakley. Y vamos a hacer una demo. Así que venga, vamos a ver. Y vamos a probar las nuevas pinturas que ha sacado este año, que son las sprays. Y que estoy deseando probar. A ver, ¿qué tal?
So, no es tinta.
Es
No
acrílico, plástico.
Es pintura. No es tinta.
Perfecto.
And when they spray together, they resist. So the two colors, or three or four, will change. I'm almost gone. Almost used the whole, can you hear it? It's kind of empty.
Sí, sí.
Almost used the entire.
Está ahí ya.
Almost gone. It's fini. So when the colors react, or actually they don't react, when they sit on top of each other, they start to resist. Because you're layering plastic on top of plastic. And so you can get some interesting effects. And what is very important is that when they are dry, they are permanent.
Genial.
So they will not react. No
Secan son permanentes.
reactivo.
No reaccionan.
So when you can stamp on it with archival and paint, and you're not going to get bleed through because they're permanent when they're dry. And because Dilutions is already perfect, Distress and Oxides, they're perfect. They react. That's why you can do those amazing displays. But I needed a spray that was not reactive. So these will not lift once they're dry. What's really cool too is if you spray it on the collage tissue, the tissue turns like glassine. So if you touch that,
Oh, qué bonito.
it turns like a crinkly, like I think it looks like colored glassine. Does that make sense? And it's just great for collage paper. And so I don't have any more of the white printing, but if you do the white printing, people never know what to do with the white. You just tint it and then spray, and really good things happen. So what I like to do too is on one side, I will spray. And then I'm just gonna blot that so I can turn it over right away. Now, then I'm gonna flip it over. And on this side, I'm gonna spray more.
When it's dry, you can put another color over.
It'll still resist a little bit because it's a layer of plastic.
Vaya.
You're good. You don't have to get it. I drop everything. I really do.
You might need that color.
Oh yeah, but I'll get it in a second. While this is really, really wet, I like to make a couple of prints because I can use that later as a nice background.
Yes.
And I like the
crinkle.
Yeah, you hate to just blot that off.
Oh.
So, that's a background for later. Easy, 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 right?
Sí, sí. Así nos vale de fondo para luego utilizarlas para otra cosa.
I love printing. I will always love printing.
Have you tried them on a jelly plate?
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're incredibly fluid. So, I mix it with my acrylic. So I'll do a layer of white, and then I will lightly add this.
Okay.
But they're really fun to print with. In fact, I'm going to teach a class this year called Not Your Grandma's Gel Printing, because all these interesting grungy ways to use your plate instead of brayer. Like, you don't even need a brayer in that class.
Right. Wow.
So then you have to hang this up to dry, because if you lay it flat, it will stick to whatever you've put it on. But see how the letters kind of come through as like a secret little story? So put it up to dry like that, because if you put it flat anywhere, it really will glue. I've glued those to my, I have office supply mats under my desk so I can move my chair.
Right? And you
I have
them
those,
to there?
yes. they will glue to anything. So now I hang this, you know, just keep an eye on it and hang it over my card or, you know, something that I want to hang it on. And the other wonderful thing about these is if you want to use them with a paintbrush, you certainly can. There's, oh, you know what I didn't see? Did I pull out my ink pad? Did you see me pull out an ink pad?
I did not see any pad.
Va a usar ahora un sello y yo creo que está buscando el rodillo o un lienzo, maybe. Madre mía, me encanta ilusión, me encanta Reyes, me encanta todo. Super happy. Mirad qué chulo ha quedado el papel ese, es la pasada, quedan con plastificados. Ruedan, se secan bastante rápido. Y una vez que se secan ya no se puede, ya no se va a mezclar el color ni nada.
Oh,
Ah, mira, aquí estaba, estábamos buscando la tinta archival.
I like to ink the way Diane hates.
Yeah.
Loud. And also, well, this will stamp perfectly on the backgrounds too.
Even though wet,
Well, you know me, I don't wait for anything to
I
dry.
know you do. And you don't know that you
Vamos a ver cómo
And
está.
I don't own a heat tool. Heat tools are for the uninspired.
Wow, yeah, super
So
chulo.
you can spray these on your sheet. Whew, running low, baby.
Ese-
Almost gone. So, Marsha, these are acrylic. They're not ink.
Baby told me to
Yeah.
definitely come watch you. Because
So they're not going to work like ink at all. You'll be disappointed if you want to get them to ghost or react, because when they're dry, they really are permanent. But don't tell Alan I'm using some of my drinking water. It's fine. So you can paint with them, and the big, for me, the big advantage to these is that they are not reactive. So when they're dry, they're permanent, which means I can come back later and paint over it. I mean, I can put white over any of these and it's not going to bleed. There's no reaction whatsoever, which for me is really important because I like to you know, draw faces and, you know, stuff and paint things on top, and I don't want the background to come through and change everything. I just don't like that. So I will always, ooh, hello. I will always go for a product that stays permanent.
Seems watercolor.
So, I mean, it's not watercolor because you can't move it once it's down.
Luego no se activa otra vez con el agua, pero parece que el efecto es como de acuarela.
Always speckle things, right? And then this one, if I want to paint it, I only brought, I thought I was bringing white paint, but it turned out I was bringing mostly gesso.
I love your paints.
I know, aren't they
I
great to
think
work with?
they are the best. Yes, because they
Oh,
are
yes.
opaque,
Yeah, they're heavy body.
heavy body.
Yeah.
For me, I paint paint, and it's very good.
Yeah. Good coverage with my paints.
Yes.
So again, I mean, you can see the background, but it's not bleeding. You can see the background
Yes.
because I'm painting it on
yeah,
thin.
because otherwise it now would have gone.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
This won't stay white, but because they're not reactive, it really will stay white, which, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've painted a face over a reactive ink and then like this weird texture comes through, and it comes through because my ink is still wet. It comes through because that dye is very, very, very bold. And these are, again, they're plastic. That's why you have to shake them just like you have to shake hardware store paint. The difference is these don't have a solvent. So they're water-based, so they're safe to spray inside. I used to teach a black spray paint class, and I had to quit because even though I would have everybody spray outside, the fumes would follow you when you brought your piece back inside. And there were people getting lightheaded in class, and you know what I mean? Like it got really to be too much. So unfortunately I had to give that up. So here you're getting all that joy of a paint and none of the stink. If you paint over anything you wish you didn't, right? You just put it back.
Yeah.
Ooh. And because they're acrylic, they'll pick, like this is yesterday, they'll pick up like a skin.
Se quita.
Ah, yeah.
And you can put.
If it's pretty.
Yes.
I mean, these are not very
For a
attractive.
journal.
Usually by the time you've mixed all the colors, they tend to be a little ugly, but
Have you ever peeled your stencils?
yeah. And because of their the spray's consistency, they actually make a really good stencil print. So I'll show you that.
This is the blending solution that makes the color very
Yeah, it's almost like peeling glue off your fingers.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I like
Packing tape will peel it right off.
I love to peel this one. Mirad qué bonito que queda. Lo ha pintado con las mismas pinturas y queda como un poco acuarelado, pero luego esto ya resiste. Ya no, aunque le eches agua, no se va a ir.
So I like to make a print off the craft sheet. Or no, a print off my stencil. That one's almost gone. I must use this color the most. It's about gone.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
All right, so save this for another day. And then there's your,
Quedan así.
yeah, it turns into glassine.
It's good.
And then print off your stencil. Oop. It makes a really good stencil print.
Oh, qué bonito. Me encanta.
Okay, Dina, I'm sold.
They're really fun, yeah.
I
And then-
haven't played with sprays in a long time.
Well, and you have to think of this as a
Not
acrylic.
as a
Yeah.
kind of paint, yeah.
There's a sweet gal in the UK that we sent a box to, and she was posting a few things that she was doing, and I could tell she was trying to use them like dilutions. And I'm like, they don't work that way. Dilutions has a finer mist because it's an ink. These are thick. I mean, you've got to shake it to mix it, so they have a thicker droplet. And they're not the same. So you can't, they're their own different category. I always say dilutions is perfect. You don't need another dilutions out there because you can't, hers is perfect.
Yes.
For what, especially for how she uses it, all of her really cool techniques.
You wouldn't print that right away?
You can. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like I'm still discovering techniques to do with them because they're new and they're different. And so I'll be at home, messing around and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, or like this here, I would for sure print. And And the white tags take it great, but all of these journals, like this journal, I use the ink on almost every page. This is what, or the ink, the paint. I'm calling it ink because it's out of habit, but the paint. This is over a thick gesso, so you know it'll go in your nooks and crannies. So you can put it over modeling paste, and this is it over media board. So if you don't prime, and I picked the canvas off, if you don't prime the media board, these act like a stain. So you can actually pour it on and it's porous and it grabs it. And then, so you can get really interesting lines of demarcation.
Too, right?
Yeah. And because paint works on paint, you know, paint pens will work really well with these. But you know, like any stencil that has a lot of fine detail won't be your friend for these.
No.
You know, Tim has all those really cool ones that are really, really intricate. And, you know, if you notice my new stencils are all big. Even Diane's been doing big shapes.
Yeah.
So you don't want anything, like those ones of Simon's, don't use my sprays with those. You'll end up with the weirdest dots ever. Because this does not lend itself to detail. But it's perfect for what I do, because I'm not a detail person anyway.
Is
You
it?
know,
Did you do it?
the denim.
Yeah.
Spray it. I mean, it works on the fabric. What's nice too is in this new journal, the Hessian, the burlap is white,
Este es el nuevo art journal de...
and so the colors. I mean, look how bright they end up on the white Hessian versus
de Dina. El
the
otro tenía la
brown
tela esa
Hessian.
pillera
So
marrón.
I've really had fun
Este
spraying.
tiene el papel de acuarela y luego tiene
acrylics
el
right
vaquero.
on there.
De la vaquera y la pillera es blanca.
So you know, you can gesso under them,
Ah,
or
mira,
you
aquí hay otro.
cannot gesso under them. So it's like this is spray combined with a little paint spray, and then I drew a weird person on there. Spray over the new masks.
Se pueden usar con gesso.
Spray in the background over gesso, so you can see where I didn't gesso the whole thing, and then I sprayed, so you can get a two-tone feel for it. That's mostly acrylic. This is mostly spray. This is acrylic, but this is both, so you can see the stenciling in the background. So it works really, this is spray. So it works really good with the existing acrylic. And I just, you know, it's kind of like Alton Brown, that cooking chef guy. He says he doesn't let anything in his kitchen that only has one use. That's kind of how I am with art products. I'm like, if it's only good for one thing, I don't want it.
Yes.
I don't want it. If it's good for more than one thing, give it to me.
Yeah.
Right?
What'd you use on here?
A scribble stick.
It is?
Yep. Yeah, the scribble stick works great on that. They just do a very interesting interaction, the colors do with each other.
Yeah.
Because they kind of, when they start resisting each other, interesting things happen. And so you just can't plan, really. But again, because I tend to like to torture my class, you know, I like that you can't plan anything. I like that it, you know, let's see what happens if I do this. It just makes for fun.
Claro, se queda amarillo,
playtimes.
naranja, morado, se van resistiendo unos a otros.
Yeah. See, that's already dry.
It doesn't take too long.
No, because it's acrylic, exactly like an acrylic paint will dry, is how this will dry. Yeah. If you want to start with paint, it's when you can get all those interesting ridges, because this paint will sort of resist it. Just like paint, acrylic paint is different on gesso versus an unprimed paper. This paint, again, will be different on gesso than on unprimed paper. And I really hope people love them, because I need the other colors really bad. I'll be like, oh, I wish I had sky. Or, you know, I'll go reaching for another color. I'm like, oh. Because I cherry picked these for
Well, I noticed because cheddar's there.
cheddar. I had to have cheddar. Yeah. So yeah.
Chatter never hurt anyone.
I think they are like distress oxide color, but the best is they are resist, not like distress
Right.
oxide.
Right. They don't react.
Exactamente. Don't
Yeah.
react.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you
Thank you.
very much. Bye.